Hey guys, it's Linda Winter. Okay, so I don't have a project. I've got a bunch of templates. These are what I call my oops templates. You know, every now and then there's an oops on the machine or an oops on the order, and you get something that you didn't plan on getting. That means that's good for you because that's a better deal for you. A lot of times it's just a blemish that doesn't really make any difference at all. So I wanted to make sure you knew about my oops templates just in case you're looking for good deals. And there are some of you who take really good advantage of my oops. I'm about to load some more oops on my website, and they change all the time because when you buy an oops, it's no longer available. Sometimes I'll have an oops of 10 or 20, so there's a bunch, but a lot of times it's just one that's messed up. So I want to go over what oops means and show you a little bit about some of them that are currently available now. Sometimes the machine just does a cut where it's not supposed to cut. I've got these three here. If we can close in, you can see there's a mark right there. I don't know, even if you all can even see it. There's a cut that shouldn't be there. Here's another one. There's a little bit of a line right there that shouldn't be there. Here's another one that has a little bit of a cut. There, you can see it. Those are not going to make any difference on the back at all. This still grabs. You can see how it's still doing a great job. It's just not perfect. So these guys are oops. So that's just a little blemish on the top. That means it's going to be marked down some, but it's not going to be an amazing deal. But it's definitely going to be cheaper than what you would pay for on the regular price. Same thing with this. This was one of the first tissue pockets that I did. And sometimes when we make it, I don't know if it's something that's going to be a real product or not. So I don't even have a name. So this one I wrote tissue pocket, but it's not embellished, or it's not cut with the laser machine tissue pocket. So sometimes it'll be something like that where I've written on it, but it doesn't say. Sometimes what has been, you can see here maybe 2.5. This isn't a 2.5 inch circle. This is a 3.5 inch circle. So what has been engraved there is something wrong. So I've written on top of there 3.5. It's still a great circle, and it still lets you cut 3.5 inch circles perfectly. It just has the information that's incorrect. So sometimes it's completely wrong. This was one of my little my little mittens that I did for Christmas. This is a great stocking kind of a thing. You can hang it on a garland with a little stockings, or you can put a gift card in there or whatever it is. But I wanted one wider. When I actually made this, it was too narrow. When you have your seam allowance, it's just too narrow. It's kind of long and thin. That means when you go to cut this, you can use a smaller seam allowance. You can cut it off here if you want. You can even, when you cut this out, cut it out, but then trim a little bit of this off. So this little mitten, it was my first test, and it was too narrow, so I changed it. Same thing with this. This is my oven mitt, my shorty mitt that I love not only for the kitchen, but I also love when I'm doing any pressing. I stick my hand in that oven mitt. I can put it right inside of a project. My hand's here with the oven mitt on top, and I can press right on top of there with my fingers pushing. You can see this one had curved edges. Curved edges don't work well when you're making these. So this was the real template. This is the one that I really did. It's a straight edge. Well, that doesn't mean you can't use this when you go to cut here. Instead of curving that edge, when you go to sew it, just stitch down straight and then stitch straight instead of that curve. I'm going to put these kind of back to back so you can see. This guy here, it doesn't look any different here, but when I flip this over, you might be able to see this one, the oops, is a little bit narrower. So it's a little bit smaller there too. That's not really that big of a deal because this opening here, this is where it gets tight, where it needs to stay on your hand. This, your hands are inside of there, so there's still plenty of room inside of there. So this is the oops. This is the real one. This is the good one. So this oops down at the bottom, so you can see that. Sometimes it's the back side that's just beat up and ugly. You can see here, this is kind of beat up. There's places where we've drilled. These are all done by hand. We're drilling. You can see here, I didn't even finish this. This, when you get this one, if you buy this one, these will be drilled. But you can see how this is scratched on the no-slip material. This will be cleaned out. That's scratched on that no-slip material. This one's got a nice little dent in here. Again, I'll have everything done for you. All these will be drilled out. It's also dirty. How do we get rid of that dirt? Packing tape. Clear packing packing tape. I have a video, get a grip gotten dirty. You'll see me with packing tape cleaning that off. But again, you can see there's a scratch there. Does that make any difference? I've got 4 layers here. You can see how it still grabs. So this doesn't make any difference at all. It's just ugly. So if you're okay with the blemishes, you're going to get a good deal on that. Same thing here. These along the edge, these are hard to drill on those edges, but that doesn't make any difference at all. You can see how it still grabs that fabric. It's just ugly. Same thing with this. It's not so bad, but there's some holes there, just little indentations there from the template. So this, my storage pod, this is my medium-sized storage pod. This is a great deal because it's just got some little blemishes on there. Not a big deal. It's still going to work. So oops are a lot of times just ugly. You know, there's an oops there. This has a little marking from where another template was sitting on top. That can be cleaned off. This one, I tried cleaning it. This with ink, this, who knows how that ink got there, but that ink is on there and I've tried cleaning it off. You can see how I even kind of went in with my packing tape and I pushed hard on that. That ink is not coming off. That ink also is not going to come off on your fabric, so it's no big deal. Again, this right here from another template just leaning against it, probably this was sitting just like that. So this will come off. That's basically the residue when the laser machine cuts these out. Some of that laser material, the black, turns into kind of a dust and it just makes it a mess. So these guys here are all still great working templates. They still allow you to do what you want to do. Sometimes, again, something is missing on here. This says 3/4 down at the bottom. This is the 3/4 area here. We have 1 inch, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 3/4. So that's supposed to be down there to let you know. When you're making the sandwich bags, 6 3/4. So that 3/4 was supposed to be down here. On this one, it doesn't have the number. And you can see those markings here. They're not consistent, but the template is still good. So these guys are available. So lots of times it's just that, you know, it's not a big deal. This right here is supposed to be a little bit wider. It's a little bit narrower. This would be great for the base of a basket. This was an oven mitt and it's supposed to be a little bit wider and a little more rounded at the top, but you can use this for something else too. I've had lots of people asking about my dumpling oops. The problem with an oops for a dumpling like this, if you're brand new to dumplings, get the dumpling, because this, where the fold is, I should have grabbed a piece of fabric that would fit, but imagine there's a fold down here for the outside of the fabric. When you go to cut around, we're placing this on the fold and you cut all the way around. On this, you have to have a fold here and a fold here. When you do folds and folds, sometimes those folds aren't consistent. So if you wanted to make this and not have a fold on the bottom, the fold goes right here. This, you can see for the dumpling, it's taller than my other dumpling. We're basically looking at this. It's a little bit wider, it's a little bit taller, but this is an oops. I've had a lot of these oopses sell. I haven't heard from anybody if they've had success, but mainly I haven't heard from anybody that they've had failure. So that is, to me, a good thing. So there's, I think, one left of that one. Sometimes the oops has some missing material, that brown. I can do what we call re-brown these, where we peel this off and put another piece of the brown or the gray on there. But again, your benefit, because this still grabs. This still grabs. You can see how that still grabs that fabric. So these are oops. This is a ruler, one of my tiny rulers there, and this is one of my box it, square it, piece it, or box it, square it, place it templates. All right, so these are a little bit different in the way that these oopses are. The oopses are supposed to, or the regular templates are supposed to have boxed bottoms. There's a regular box bottom. You can see it's a little bit like a 1/2 inch or so for that length. These, when they were cut way too teeny tiny. I don't know if you can see how teeny tiny. Those are not going to let your rotary cutter cut inside of there. This is a new template that's not on the website yet because I'm still working on these, but you can see when you go to cut these, the rotary cutter blade isn't going to go in. So how would we use this template? There's a bunch of templates like this that I have, so let me just show you what you would end up doing. Instead of using your rotary cutter, you're going to go in and basically do this. Now this I would do on the inside of my fabric rather than on the outside. I've just got white fabric here, but do you see when I go to cut, I'm trying to get inside of there, and I'm going to turn this over here, and I'm going to try to get inside of here, and let's see how we did. You can see it doesn't cut all of that fabric. So what do? We take some sharp scissors and we go finish that cut off. So this still works just fine. It's just you have to finish cutting with scissors. So these little teeny tiny cuts that are there, there's 1, 2, there's another one that I had. There it is here. So my small, my medium, and I've got, this is the wedge bottom pouch short. This is the curved zip pouch medium. This is the curved zip pouch, pouch small. So these guys are templates that aren't even available on the website yet in the regular. These are oopses. So I have those available. This one, here's a template, and it doesn't even have the cut marks. So this one, when you do this, again, you would just trace that and then go cut out. It's going to be just that little bit there that it won't allow you to cut with the rotary cutter. So here's one, here's another. This is a straight curve zip pouch. You can imagine it's going to be a dumpling, but it's a whole lot taller here. This one, the zipper goes at the top here, or if you wanted to do the zipper at an angle, you could do that, and then just do that turn here. Fold, there's no mark on here at all. This one tells you fold, so you can see that. But lots of different things you can do with that. Okay, so these had oopses because these cuts were too short. This is my pencil case, and I love this project. But I got a lot of these templates that are too long. So let me go in and show you. I'm cutting all the way in there, and I'm cutting all the way in here. And when I go to cut, do you see what it did? It cut inside of there. So that's a lot. Now, this guy here and that guy here, that's basically like 1/4 of an inch. If you use a 3/8 inch seam allowance when you're sewing your box bottoms together, we're basically going to be stitching these together so it does the box bottom. If you're using a 3/8 inch at least seam allowance, then you're good with this. I've had a lot of people buying this. This is my pencil case. Let me show you the pencil case. We'll be filming the video on this one this week. So this is a pencil case here, and you can see I've done all kinds of little embellishments on here, but this was made with an oops. So this one is what it will look like when you make an oops. And let me just show you inside of there. This is dog food and I have cat food. So, or dogs, and I have cat treats inside of there. My cats have been going crazy trying to get inside of here. This one, this was a quilted block that I had, 2 blocks. Actually 1 block that I cut up, and you can see inside of here I have a bunch of my quilting tools inside of here. So this is my horizontal box pencil case. No pencils here. No pencils here, but you can see the kind of case that it makes. Let's come over here. Christmas in July is coming. Christmas any time of the year, it's always a good thing to get ready for Christmas. So inside of here, I've added goodies and then a big goodie inside of there. So if you're going to give somebody something and you maybe want to take them shopping with you, then you can make one of these, especially if you're going to be doing Christmas in July. And there's all kinds of things you can add on to the zipper pulls. You can see here, I've got a pull. I've got another pull over here. I've got another pull over here. My video will show you how to do those. And then here's another one where I've got, again, another zipper pull. You can have so much fun with all these little doodad kind of things that you've got hanging around. And I mentioned it was a pencil case, so there's not pencils, but some writing utensils. So this would be more of a traditional pencil case use. But what's great about pencil cases is they don't have to hold pencils at all. But this template made all of these. I just used wider than a 3/8 inch seam allowance when I did those box bottoms. I'll have the correct template soon, but right now they just have those long cuts, much longer. This one was the very first one, and what do? We made it without. So there aren't any cuts there. So sometimes you get none, sometimes you get too much. And then at some point we'll have a happy medium. Now sometimes the machine just messes up. So this was a mess up. This file, this is my boxy knot bag. This is one of my favorite projects to just go to town on. all those clothes that you have in your closet that you want to get rid of, that you're going to donate, make bags out of them instead. The boxy knot bag, go watch my video if you haven't seen it before, because it's a whole lot of fun. These are the cut marks that should be there. Now notice it was white. I got the white at a special, and it was just kind of a neat thing to be able to do, but the white is hard to get, so now we're back to the black. But look what happened. No change in the file, but the machine, when it went to cut, it just made them a whole lot longer. So again, what do you do here? I need my seam allowance to be wider than a 3/8 inch. So this boxy knot bag, I've got a bunch of these that the machine messed up on, so these will be cheaper than this one. You can still get this one if you want. If you don't want the deal, if you don't want to fool with it, and you just want the way it's supposed to be done, then you can get this one. But if you like the deal, then this is an option for you. That'll be an oops. One more oops to show you. And this one here, if you all have seen these before, these are the wedges. And the wedges are supposed to have, mine was supposed to have 1/2 inch markings. These markings that are here, you can see them there, they're not consistent. So they're supposed to be every 1/2 of an inch consistently, but they didn't come out consistently. So I don't remember where the problem was, but they're not all 1/2 of an inch. So you can't use those markings for 1/2 inch markings, but you can still use this ruler. And what can you do? You can go draw on with one of the metallic Sharpies to be able to do this. So, all right, so oops templates. It's a great way for you to get a great deal. Again, if you're kind of a bargain shopper like I am, and you're like, I don't care about that, I'm good with that, then go look at my oops. They're changing all the time. Sometimes it'll be fabric, sometimes, you know, who knows what I'll have there. I might have patterns or whatever kinds of things too, besides templates. So go look and see. Again, if you're like, I don't want to fool with it, then buy the regular. I always have discount codes. Go read the descriptions of several of my videos and you can see. And if you're on Facebook, I always post about discounts and sales and things like that on my Facebook page too. So oops templates you can find on my website by searching oops. You just put in the word oops in the search box and you'll get to see a drop down box that'll show you whatever it is that I have. And from time to time I go in and update those oops templates and show you some of the different ones that are available. You can see that drop down. It'll give you the drop down and it'll give you the ones that are available. You'll see a picture and I usually write on there what's wrong with that oops. You're welcome to pick up the phone and call me and say, Linda, I'm interested in oops number 17. Will you tell me what it is? And I can tell you more about it. And I can send you some additional pictures if you like. So just one of those fun things to be able to do. I hate throwing stuff away and I want to pass on the savings to you. If y'all are saying, you know, I really want it, but I don't want it that bad to pay full price. So it's a great way to be able to get some things and try them out. And if you really like it, then you can pass that on to somebody else and then get you a good one that doesn't have any oops. Sometimes the oops don't make any difference at all. They're just not quite so perfect, kind of like the fruit with the bruises. So go look at my oops page on my website and see if you can find something that you just can't live without. Thanks for watching, guys.